Good afternoon to all. A woman must have money and a room of her own if she is to write fiction. This is the famous quote of Virginia Woolf, and today I am going to deal with a feminist perspective of Virginia Woolf's novel, in which I have taken three novels. First is Room of One's Own, very prominent novel of her, then Orlando, and To the Lighthouse. So, this is my information. A very brief introduction of Virginia Woolf. Her full name, her original name is Adeline Virginia Stephen. She was born on January 25. Now? Huh? Yeah. See,
Wait.
there are too many slides. पहले से start करो, पहले से start करो,
आपला वेगळं स्टाईल से त्याच्यावर वरती सुरू करावं.
Sorry, यार, तो मैं तो यार
It's
आणि भूपती शेअरच्या शेअर स्लाइड.
wait.
तो आज कोट वापरवायला
Moses बनवला.
Is it visible?
Now
Move करायचं. Is it moving? Shall I start? So this is my personal information, and let's have a glimpse of her on her life. Her original name is Adeline Virginia Stephen. She was born on January 25 and died on March 28. She is very famous for her novels, and she was part of a Bloomsbury group in which the other members are E.M. Forster, Roger Fry, and her husband also, her future husband Leonard was met there in Bloomsbury Group. And she is best known for her novels like Mrs. Dalway, To the Lighthouse, Room of One's Own, etc. And she also wrote several letters to her friends and her family in her lifetime. And she did many experiments on biographical writing and fictions also. Now, what is feminism? I am going to deal with the feminist perspective of her novels, but what is feminism actually? It is of one kind of a belief in social, economical, political equality of the sexes. They both, the female and male, have the same kind of equality in all the fields, and largely it was manifested in Europe, and it was also worldwide worldwide known. And how Virginia Woolf was influenced by this feminism. It was one incident that the fight for women's vote between 1903 and the period of First World War. While in this time, the women were fighting because they didn't have had the right of votes. So this incident, they were sexually attacked by the police, and that's why this incident very much influenced Virginia, and then she wrote many novels on the rights of the women. So Virginia Woolf, a feminist writer, she believed that literature also is mother also, not literature is not father only but the mother also. She concerned with many issues like the social and economical context of women's writing, gender, gender roles in language, and she mainly focused on the education of women, and women can write. So these are the very brief summaries of Lighthouse, Room of One's Own, and summary of Orlando. Lighthouse is the story divided in the three parts. The very first is the window, and window is symbol of the female. And the last part is known as the lighthouse, which is also called the symbol of man. Lighthouse is the hope in this novel. In this novel, Mr. and Mrs. Ramsay are going to the lighthouse, and they are going in this isle of sky with his children, 8 children, and the guests. And this is a very famous story. It's not have the that big plot, but the philosophy inside the lighthouse is very much important. Then Room of One's Own. This is not actually the novel, but it is the fiction. It is a essay. This was published in September 1929, and it was a essay. The speech was given by Virginia Woolf in October 1928 in Newham College and Girton College, which are the part of the Women's Constituent College at the University of Cambridge. This essay is one of the main important essay for feminism. And then the summary of Orlando, as we all know, that it is the story of a person whose sex is changed from the male to the female. So this is the short summary. Now, feminism in Lighthouse. In the lighthouse, as I told you, the Mrs. and Mr. Ramsay go to the lighthouse, and there is guest also, and one guest is Lily. Lily is painter. She paints the things, and especially she paints Mrs. Ramsay and Mr. Ramsay's portraits. And Mrs. Ramsay wants her to marry, but she denies. Now, this shows that the woman can deny if she doesn't want to marry. And she also struggles philosophically. Actually, Mr. Ramsay wants to be philosopher, but he is not able. He doesn't have that guts. But Lily is constantly having a thoughts, philosophy in her mind. She is not exactly portraying the things she wants to do, but in the end, she wins all the troubles going in her mind, going in her heart philosophically, and then she completes her painting. Now, this is shows that in that era, in 20th century, women can deny for marriage. Also, she can be a writer and painter also. William in the part in this novel says that William is also the guest. He says that women should not paint, but she doesn't hear him. She challenges this thing. So Lily is the feminist character in the lighthouse. And also in this, Virginia Woolf breaks the stereotype of masculine and patriarchy, because we all have the father in the house who deal with the things, who deal with most of the families things, and the rupees and money. It's all about on father. But in this, Mrs. Ramsay is very powerful and strong character. She handled all the things, and she also symbol the cyclical change in the towards the society, that women can also handle the things. Women can also handle the family. For example, in this, she's reading the newspaper loudly. She decide the family's money issues, everything. So she is also feminine character. Now, the feminist reading of Room of One's Own. This is having many feminist aspect in the essay. For example, education, literature and writing, wealth, freedom, all the things of the related to the women are told by Virginia Woolf in Room of One's Own. In this essay, she writes that ladies are only admitted to the library if accompanied by a fellow of the college or furnished with a letter of introduction. She was coming from the family in which his father, Stephen, Leslie Stephen believed that only boy have to do only boy have to have the all the education in the family, but women girl cannot, because ultimately she will marry. So education is not for the woman, and this thing is satirically told in this essay, in which she symbolically she narrates the fictional three characters. One is Mary Batten, Mary Saturn, and Mary Carmichael. These ladies are when going to the universities, in which they are seeing that the women have not space for the writing. Not women are that famous like the men are. So this is also told in the essay. And another thing is Judith Shakespeare. William Shakespeare has not actually any sister in history, but this is the fictional character which is told by Virginia Woolf. Judith Shakespeare is also very good in literature, like William Shakespeare. She is also master in the literature. But what happens there? She is not given the platform like William Shakespeare is given. So she's set at home, and her potential, her skills are not coming out, and that's why ultimately she's do suicides. So women have that kind of condition in that society. They had ability of writing, they had ability of being famous, but they were not giving platform by males. Male writers were feeling like, no, we are writing for women now, but that was not actually the correct thing. So it is also said by Virginia Woolf in Room of One's Own. And she also focuses on education and money. Woman must have money if she wants to write, she wants to publish her books. And these are the things which I have told earlier. Gender equality in Orlando. Now, all the three novels are actually feminist novels, but deals with the different aspect. First, Lighthouse is breaking the stereotype. The another is talking about women's right, the Room of One's Own, and now Orlando. Orlando is saying that being transsexual is not that big deal. Imagine, this is normal for us, even this is not normal for many of us in the in this society. So how can that be very normal in that society? But still, Orlando, Virginia Woolf imagines that a person is changing automatically, her change sex changed from men to women. And that's why Orlando is when transformed, she was stark naked and proceeds by taking a bath. She was not shocked. It's okay if he's shifted to female from the male. And as Judith Little writes that Orlando arrives as an adult on the scenes of each era, she escapes normal childhood socialization that evokes her as a self who is free of the major illusions of many areas and the stereotype of both sexes. If a girl have the more masculine power, then it's okay, and if a boy it's having feminine, then it's obviously normal. Also, another critic, Sharon Knopp, claims that Orlando is not a woman acting like a man. Orlando is a man and a woman, and there is nothing unnatural about it. And woman also, Wolf also writes that Orlando had become a woman. There is no denying of it, but every other respect, Orlando remains precisely as he had been. He is what he is. So being male or female, that is not important, but what are you doing, that is important. These are my references. Thank you. I will conclude with one kind of a Hindi quote that वुल्फ नहीं बन सकते तो क्या हुआ, उनकी राह पर तो चल सकते हैं. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Dhvani, uh, what are your views about feminism?
So I'm totally agree with Virginia Woolf's views of the gender equality, education, literature and writing, role of the women in literature and writing. And we are not, we are actually equal like a man, and we can do whatever they can do.
Sunny. My question is that you say that Lily believes in different philosophy. What kind of philosophy she believes?
Lily was when she was painting, she was very much confused. She was portraying the Mrs. Ramsay's painting, but while she was doing that, she was having so much thoughts in her mind that how can she become famous? First, she was focusing on the being famous, but later she found herself that no, being a painter itself, I am having the skill that is important. I'm not doing it for anybody. I'm doing it for myself only. So that is important philosophy.